but
Yeah.
we're good to
I
go
mean,
now.
let's get into it, man. How did you get into logistics? Where did you get your start?
Dude, so back in 2015, I was a senior at University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, UIUC. So graduated with a psychology degree, and I was like, okay, I could either go do my master's, which would cost like, I don't know, $80,000, like, for a year to do my master's, and I have to like be stuck in school. I wasn't like the greatest student. I don't know. I've always been kind of like ADD, kind of like, that wasn't kind of my thing. I mean, it was like I liked it. I just had problems focusing. So my fraternity brother, like, I was at career fair at UIUC, like last couple of months, trying to get a job, and I run into my fraternity brother, and he was there with with like a company called Trek Freight Services, and like he's like, yo, Paul, you should learn more about Trek, like, and I'm like, all right, like, hey, I'm interested, like, and I the interview was so bad. I had a job interview. I was so anxious. I had such bad anxiety. And it was like, just because he was my fraternity brother, I got like a job really easily. So I got the job at Trek. They had really good training. Didn't pay a lot though. So I ended up being there for a year, great training, and I honestly left. And I was like, I'm never gonna go back into logistics again.
I mean,
Like,
what was your position over there? You doing, I think, carrier
I was
sales,
just
yeah.
carrier sales rep. I was a junior carrier sales rep. So like,
There you go.
yeah, like it was honestly like I was good at it though, because I was the only one that spoke Polish in the whole office. And there's like all these Polish companies in Chicago, and they're literally all my like carriers, like, so
Yeah.
I built up like a good reputation over the year, just like being
Yeah,
like
I
the
mean,
Polish guy.
speaking two languages always helps in business. You always find a way to make it
Dude,
work.
100%, especially like with like languages that are like common in trucking, Polish, Russian, Serbian, Ukrainian, like
Spanish.
Spanish, yeah, like literally like these languages like are so useful. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
of course.
I left after a year. I had $5,000 saved up. I was like almost 23, like on the verge between 22 and 23. And my dad worked for this airline called Eva Air out of Chicago. And like the job wasn't that great, but like the great benefit of it was that like, you would have like really cheap flying tickets. So like until the age of 24, I had like really cheap flying tickets. So I could fly to Poland round trip from Chicago for $250. I had free tickets to Asia every year. Like it was like,
Wow.
honestly, I was like, but it was until I was 24. And I was like, okay, I have like basically a year left of these tickets. I have $5,000 in my bank account. I'm like, I'm just gonna go travel. So I just traveled for literally like half a year. All I did was just backpack around like Europe, Asia, like India. Like it was just wild. Like, and then
You
I
had
came
any
home.
way to make income throughout that, or you were just that 5 grand
So,
stretched for 12 months?
so I made a couple grand driving for Uber. Like it was like I came home for like a few weeks in October of 2016. I came home to Chicago, and that was literally the month where the Chicago Cubs won the World Series for like the first time in like 100 years.
Yeah, I
And dude,
remember that.
Uber rates were like off the charts. Uber was still paying like a lot back then because like they were still like trying to take over the market. Like I was getting paid like $35 an hour driving an Uber.
Yeah.
Like it was chill. It was chill. So I did that for a little bit, and then I literally come home in January of 2017, and I'm like I had like $30 in my bank account. And I'm like, crap. Like I wasn't planning on going back into logistics, but this girl I used to work with at Trek, she actually was starting. She started a job at CS Recruiting, which if you don't, do you know CS Recruiting, Alex?
No, man, not familiar.
By the way, how's my connection? Is it good?
Yeah, you're okay. Nothing we
So
can't
okay,
fix
okay,
in post. Don't worry about it.
okay. So CS Recruiting is a recruiting company. So like if you're a broker, like this, they're huge in Chicago. Charlie Safro started the company. You should
Ah,
actually
okay.
interview
I
with her.
know her
She's
name.
great.
Yeah, I know who that
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So that's CS Recruiting. Yeah. Here, I'm gonna move back a little bit so the connection gets a little bit better. But overall, like I ended up reaching out to Arbella over there, who was like this girl I worked with at Trek. And I was like, hey, listen, like I need to get a job in logistics. I know you told me before that if I needed a job, you could hook it up. And like she got me 4 interviews in 1 week. I'm like, damn, okay,
Yeah.
this is pretty cool. Like I got 4 interviews, and then after all 4 interviews, I had 4 job offers. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. I had 4 job offers, and like there was like 2 companies that interested me. I forgot the one name. Another one was Everest. And honestly, like I Everest was like the coolest company out of all of them. There was like only 7 guys in like one like small office in Evanston, just like hustling. It was like everything else was so corporate. They were just like really chill. And I'm like, all right,
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree
And
with
I'm
that,
like,
man. Like trucking, the reason I love this industry is that like it shouldn't be so corporate. Like I
yeah,
love those smaller operations where it's like you're chilling with your boys, you're pushing
a hundred
freight, you're having
percent.
fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally. Yeah, no, and like honestly, I loved working at Everest. It was like so cool because like it was just like us like having fun, like at office. It was like a lot of work, but we were just like, joking around. Like
yeah,
there's
it's
no
tons of
corporate
work, but
structure.
it's like you can
Yeah,
swear, you can joke around. The
yeah. There
drivers, you
was
can
no,
joke with them.
yeah,
Like,
there was no HR, and there was actually like, I mean, it was just all guys. So like it was just like a locker room basically, like locker room talk. But it was cool, and like, but we ended up growing really fast. Cause like when I was there, I was like the first carrier sales rep besides like one of the owners who was like booking freight. And I just like quickly like the market. This was January 2017, and I know like during an interview, like one of the co-founders, Lev, he was like they already had like 2 people in Ukraine like doing some tracking and stuff, and like I kind of told him like it would be cool, like I would love to like go to Poland and like open up an office for them, and like Lev was like all about like opening up an office in Ukraine, and I
yeah,
was like,
see, so we had like talked about this when we were chilling together in Serbia,
yeah,
where like you were interested to go out of the country and work. But
yeah,
what you told me just now, I didn't know that you were traveling for that year on cheap
yeah,
flights. So you already love
yeah.
traveling. You're about it. You're like, I'm
Oh
leaving.
yeah,
I'm leaving America. I want to go work somewhere.
yeah. So like I was traveling extensively like my whole life because my dad's tickets like they were cheap, so like it just like we were able to travel so much. Like even though like we didn't like have like actually like any money, we just like always had money for travel. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I feel that.
Yeah,
Like when I moved to
yeah,
Europe, man, like traveling is so much cheaper. Like I went to Barcelona for like $100 round trip, and it's
yeah,
like, dude, at those prices, you have to do it. You know?
yeah. No, totally, totally. And like I learned a lot, I think, via travel, and like it's just cool to see new cultures. Like when I visited you in Serbia, like that was like like it was cool like to just to see a new country, meet new people, like experience that because like you just have it in the back of your mind, like it's like how is that place actually? Like you
Yeah,
like
but
I
see,
gotta
that's
go
the thing
visit.
with travel I've learned, like, because I've been to, I don't know, 5, 6 countries, and I'd say half of them I had a local connection there, and that was the
Sure.
best. But when you travel as a proper tourist, like, I don't know, you don't get like the right feel for the place, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. I
So you
agree.
went over to Everest in Ukraine. They
Yeah.
offered you the offer. You went out to
Well,
Ukraine.
so I first, it was funny because like Lev was like all about Ukraine, but like Jake and Phil, the other founders, like they were kind of more like hesitant about like they had a few people, um, in like Ukraine like working from home, but they didn't like really want to open up an office there, and like so I started just working out of Evanston, Illinois. I was working out of like the Chicago office, just north of Chicago, and then like that was January, and then I know like in July, like one day after work, like Lev called me. He's like, Paul, like, yo, do you want to move to Ukraine? I was like right away. I was like, yes, like send me, like I'm like down to move like right now, and I couldn't like wait. And it was funny because then I go back to the office and it was like my birthday, and the guys like took me out for dinner, and like I was like, well, I went with Jake and Phil for dinner, not Lev, and I was like, yo guys, so am I like moving to Ukraine? And they like both laughed and like they're like, nope, like you're not moving to Ukraine, like we're gonna
Uh,
stay right here. And I'm like, oh damn. And then like you could just tell like Lev was like, Paul, like don't worry about it, like I'll take care of it. Like like you're gonna move to Ukraine, open up this office for us. And I'm like, all right, whatever, like I guess. And like I remember like it was November, yeah, November 10th, 2017. I took a flight to Ukraine and I moved. And I moved to Ukraine. And honestly, like I just fell in love with the place. I'm like, this place is sweet. Like, I don't know. It's like cheap, but at the same time, like it's safe. And like I went from living in a 2-bedroom house or apartment condo with 6 people in it to living like a king in Ukraine overnight. It was like the most
yeah.
remarkable thing I've ever experienced in my life. Like
Yeah, I
I
had the
never
same thing in Serbia, man. Like I went
Mhm.
from being with roommates, you have to have
Yeah,
roommates, and then I came
yeah,
here and I was like, I had this huge apartment and it was mine and nobody lived with me.
yeah,
I was like, this is insane. This is like so nice to have your own
dude.
spot.
Literally like it's awesome. Like and that's probably one of the reasons why like, I really liked it, but at the same time like I was close to Poland, and so to come out to Poland I have like friends and family here, and like I was like I've always wanted to like just spend more time here. That was like the main reason why I was like down to
I
move to
mean,
Ukraine. And
what was your day-to-day life, in the Everest office? Were you booking freight? Were you just
yeah,
managing people?
so in the beginning it was a ton of booking, like because I moved in like a busy market and we only had like a few people in Ukraine. Like we were like nonstop hustling, like on the phone, like just like booking, like, and there was like rippers, dude. We were making like so much money on these loads. This is awesome. um, and then like and then obviously we grew out of that, and like I became more of a manager because like I was just, like hiring people, interviewing people, like getting up to speed. Like my day to day life was like I liked it a lot back then.